And now, Mike's thoughts.
The NFL has done it yet again. The NFL is shooting for the moon and they're landing among the stars out there. Or are they? Week 1 game has officially been announced that they'll be playing in Brazil. It'll be the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles Week 1 in the beautiful country of Brazil. Not only is it not on a Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday, it's going to be on a Friday night. So Friday night, Week 1, Packers versus Eagles in Brazil. I have mixed feelings about this. Actually, I hate this. I hate these over-the-seas games. I hate these out-of-country games. I hate the fact that we're going to Mexico, Brazil, London, wherever. I hate it. I hate it because me and my man Arthur Brown last season, huge Miami Dolphins fan. I'm obviously a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. We were going to play each other. We're like, oh, baby, let's go to the game. Let's meet up. Let's have some beers, yada, yada, yada. They end up playing in freaking London. What? Guys, the NFL is a very, what's the word I'm looking for? You only get 8 home games this season. So unless you got some dollar bills, y'all, you have about 8 times that you can see your team in person. And then now you're taking one of those home games away for the Philadelphia Eagles, for the Kansas City Chiefs, for whoever, and playing them overseas. I understand you want to spread the brand. I understand that you want to get the worldwide audience. I understand you want it to be a global game. But damn it, stop with this shit already. Stop with these out-of-country games. Stop with these overseas games. Stop with these Mexico games. Stop with the Canadian games. Stop it. Every team is in America. Do you see the baseball traveling to London to play a game, to traveling to South America to play a game, to China to play a game? No, you don't. And we have 96 home games this season to catch a game. They can't do one, right? Hell, even their games that they outsource, right, to the field to the Field of Dreams field in Iowa. It's still in the States. It's still in somewhat close to the Chicago Cubs field, right? I'm not happy about this. I don't want the Eagles to go Brazil. I don't want the Packers to go to Brazil. I don't want any more overseas games. I don't want any more of this crap. Let's stick with the home turf. Let's stop with this letting Jacksonville play over in UK 4 times this season. Stop with it. Damn it, cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Be sure over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Check out the blog section. Of course, check out the new and improved site over there because we've been working out there trying to figure out my WordPress skills, get some plugins in, set some APIs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit more nerd talk for y'all. But manhourradio.com, manhour.co, and of course, this is powered by NFLtoday.co. NFLtoday.co is where all the magic happens. If you guys want to check out some other shows over there, click on the watch tab. We got my man Wayne G's show popping up over there. We got my man Luke G's popping up show over there. We got all the shows linked up that I enjoy, that I legitimately enjoy. They're all linked over there. So bada bing, bada boom. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Guys, but this is a live interactive show. Comments are encouraged. Talk your shit in the comments below, but be ready to defend yourself because you know what? Today is my birthday and we are out here partying. We are partying all day long today, but let's go ahead and jump into the chat today. And we got a Pigskin Pundit popping up in the chat today. We got Jim Powell. If you guys want to be like Jim and support this show and become a Pigskin Pundit, click on the link below. You get some after hours footage, you get some free merch, but there's merch is dropping in the mail today. I just got it and shipped it out, so it should be in the next few days, Jim and John and the rest of the Pigskin Pundits. So guys, be ready for your second quarter merch there. We got film breakdown if you're a Pigskin Pundit as well. And when we go off air, April 26th, for a few weeks, 6 weeks, while I rework some stuff, possibly be building a new studio, maybe bringing back my man Hoppy and Combsy, and maybe don't let all the eggs out of the basket. But what's up? If you guys are a Pigskin Pundit, you'll be knowing what's happening before everybody else does. So good morning to you, Jim. And speaking of another Pigskin Pundit, we've got my man John. He is a Pigskin Pundit as well. He says, good morning, sinners. I'm a sinner. I'm a dinner. Oh, no, that's not how the song goes. I'm a joker. I'm a smoker. I'm a midnight toker. John lives up to those expectations every day of the week. He is a midnight sinner. But good morning, John. John is a resident NFL expert because his name has 4 letters in it, and that means one thing and one thing only. You know what the hell you're talking about. So, Jim, you should add an extra M on the back of your name and become Jimma, and you become an NFL expert as well. But, guys, we do have a lot of trash talk groups out there as well. We got AFC West trash talk groups. We got North, South, East, West. All of the teams out there, all 32 teams out there. If you guys want to talk some shit, go to our Facebook page.com/manhour and click on the groups page and you can find yourself a group. You can find yourself a group, join it up because our groups are exploding. I think our AFC West group right now is up to 6,000 people. AFC East is about 3,500. NFC East is around 4,000. So join some fun, guys. Join some fun. But it is a if and then Thursday, so we got a little bit of if and a little bit of then. If you guys are new and do not understand the aspect of if and then, take you back to 5th grade science fair. When you're writing the hypotheses of your science fair, you're like, if this happens, or sorry, if I do this, then this will happen. And that's exactly what we're doing here on Thursday, but we got to talk about Rashee Rice first. We have to talk about Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice has officially have 8 warrants out for his arrest, steaming from the car wreck back on March 31st. We have 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 account of collision involving serious bodily injury, and 6 count of collision involving injury. Total, if you add up all these charges into one, it's up to 35 years in federal prison because these are federal crimes, 2nd-degree federal misdemeanors. Also, the other person involved in the wreck, Theodore Knox, is also being charged as well. So we've been speaking a lot about this the last few days because this is big news. This is happening right before the draft. The Kansas City Chiefs already have some wide receiver issues, yada, yada, yada. But I want to actually talk about the actual aspect of these crimes. Now, the one thing that I saw first off the bat is he does have 1 account of a collision involving serious bodily injury. All 4 other cars that were involved were treated with minor injuries. So I'm kind of curious of where the lenience is on that. What makes an injury a serious injury and what makes it a minor injury, right? Is a broken arm a serious injury? Is a scrape on the nose a serious injury? I'm kind of curious about that. So right there off the bat, I see some flaws that a lawyer can start to poke holes into the situation here. Also, it is reported that none of the passengers in the cars with Rashee Rice or Theodore Knox will be charged, but they did find a $16,000 check, a Chiefs playbook, and some marijuana in the car as well. So probably be charged with some drug possession as well. But with all that being said, guys, I don't think it matters at this point for Rashid Rice. No matter what the plea deal is, no matter if all charges get dismissed possibly, which I don't see that happening whatsoever because there's a second person involved. Once you involve a second person, I think these charges are going to stick pretty tightly. Rashid Rice is going to serve some jail time. Rashid Rice is going to go to a federal prison for a couple years, and he is going to serve some jail time. He is going to be Bubba's bitch. Let's just be flat out honest. I also think that there's going to be an example made out of Rashid Rice. I think since he is a high-profile athlete, since he is very much in the media, since this has become now a national news case, he is going to get made an example of. Rashid Rice's career is over. Flat out about it. Much like Henry Ruggs III made a mistake, he's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Lucky for you, which this is crazy to me, flat out, right? Nobody was seriously injured in Rashid Rice's wreck. Nobody died. Nobody lost the ability to go to work the next day. Potentially 35 years in federal prison. Henry Ruggs III killed a person, was drunk off of his ass, and killed a dog. He potentially out, next year? 2 years? Wrap your head around that. Wrap your head around that. Somebody that was racing caused an accident. Nobody seriously injured. He did leave the scene of a crime, or at the scene of the accident. I get that. Potentially 35 years in federal prison. Henry Ruggs gets, 5 years for killing a person. States. Texas is a no BS state. Nevada, you can do whatever you want, when you want, how you want, as long as you got some dollar bills, yo. Jump up in the chat here. See what's going on. John says, do not give up your J job. You don't like me singing, John? Come on, man. I'm a great singer. Jim said it sounded like somebody was stabbing a cat in the ass. Come on, guys. I got a voice of an angel. Come on now. Jim Powell does say that Rice is officially charged with enough felonies to be traded to the Raiders. Listen, even the Las Vegas Raiders, I do not think will touch Rashid Rice at this particular point. It is 8 warrants. I think 2 of them are felonies, right? Maybe 3. But total 35 years potentially in a federal prison. Even if he pleads that down to 80%, that's still 3-4 years. That is tough. John says that in itself is enough to keep him out. What in enough is to keep him out? Like, what are you referring to, John? I am confused by that. Like, what are you saying? So, are you saying that since he's a high-profile athlete with some dollar bills, y'all, it will keep him out of jail? Texas is a no bullshit state. Now, if it was just Rashid Rice involved in the accident and then left, and there wasn't another person, I could potentially see that. But Theodore Knox, 21 years old, and Rashid Rice, 23 years old, both of their lives are potentially over by having some fun in a car. Wayne G says, my experience being on a grand jury taught me that the DA will charge for everything under the sun, hoping for 1 or 2 charges to stick. So I'm glad you brought this up, Wayne G, because my Cindy, the Buck's wife over here, she listens to watches a lot of the Datelines and 2020s and that aspect of thing. And when you go from the shows, right? I mean, obviously you're in Vermont or Massachusetts, might be different, but most states, I feel like if you present the jury with 10 charges, don't they all have to stick or none of them have to stick, right? Now, I could see, 1 count of aggravated assault. I don't understand that because technically Rashid Rice's car didn't wreck. the Theodore Knox's car wrecked, which caused the accident. There is so much uncertainty that is going to happen, but you are probably right, Rain. I mean, they are going to probably dig up a hell of a lot more charges, hoping that one of them sticks and he spends a couple years in jail. Riggs faced like 60 years too. What you face isn't was always what you serve. So here's the deal with Riggs, right? No, it's Ruggs. Henry Ruggs III. I never heard 60 years, right? I never heard the potential of 60 years. Now, that may have been an extreme if he would have got charged for everything under the sun, but the simple fact of the matter is I think he just got charged with DUI manslaughter, like I think it was. And even then, killing a person, you only get 3-4 years in jail. Like it's absolutely asinine. Like rapists spend longer in jail than murderers do. It's just I don't know. The system's a little bit flawed, but it is what it is. James Connor's in the chat. Good morning, John. Sorry, John Connor. My mistake. Good morning, John. John said, I guarantee you he left the scene of an accident because he was impaired. Either way, he deserves what he gets and should not be able to play football again. So, John, let me ask you this question. Let me play devil's advocate here, okay? Let's say an average Joe Blow, you and me, we're racing down the interstate. We did the same thing that Rashid Rice did. You happen to be high or maybe blew a .09, right? Just a little bit above the legal limit on alcohol, or you're high or whatever, right? They charge you with the aggravated assault. You spend 1 year in jail. Does that make it so you can never work again? Let's just say you work at a Fortune 500 company, Tyson Foods. You are some type of upper management, right? You're in jail for a year. You obviously have the management experience. You have this. You have all the credentials. You are making that Tyson's Foods tons of money. Should you have the right to never work again? No matter where you go, you will never get a management job again, and you have to suffer either living off of the government assistance or going to a Burger King and working at below minimum wage. Like, I get what you're trying to say, but just because somebody makes a mistake doesn't mean that their whole lives have to be ruined, right? He should still have a right to play in the... If his ability is still there, he should still have a right to play in the NFL. Look at who is the lineman from Seattle that choked out his wife like 3 times. The first 2 times were like, whatever, boys will be boys. And then the last time, I think he killed her, right? And then finally, like, I guess we gotta let you go. Hardy, right, for the Panthers, would consistently be called for beating his wife, breaking the law. How many different teams did like he play for after that came out? He played for Carolina again. He played for the Cowboys, and I thought he played for the Seahawks too. I mean, one mistake should not decide your whole future, right? John People says, pot in the car, driving crazy, celebrity, the rest will be decided in court. Most states right now, pot is legal. I don't know if it's legal in Texas or not. Timothy Nicola says nobody died. Suspend him for 5 games and let him pay some fine. Which ultimately, that's probably what the NFL will do. He will get suspended for at least a half a season, pay a lot of dollar bills, yo. But the bigger issue is the federal charges. Where do the federal charges go, right? That's the biggest thing. Good morning, Timothy, by the way. John People says he's no John Harbaugh, though. John Carner says same thing goes for the 49er receivers who was with him. Who was the 49ers receiver that was with him? I didn't know any other players were with him. Yes, it is. Started at 60, then the wheels started getting greased. Talking about Henry Ruggs III. Responsibilities for your actions, says John. I mean, obviously everybody does got to take responsibility for their actions. I get it. I understand it. But Jim Powell says Rice should be forced to play in the CFL. Less money and longer field. Here's a fun fact, John. If you are a felon, which Rashid Rice will probably become a felon, he can't go to Canada. If Rashid Rice is a felon and on some type of probation, he can't go to Brazil and play. He can't go to London. Me from a Canadian player, guys, you think Canada football, the CFL is easy. It's not. It is tough. You got 12 guys on the field. You got an extra 20 yards width. You got an extra, 10 yards depth. It is tough, baby. Slow it down. John Connor says, but after he knew after the Henry Ruggs thing, the potential of could have happened and doing stupid shit. So with that being said, he's a young athlete. He's famous. He's a role model. So I stick with what I said. Which, John, I don't want you to back down from anything. You have a point, stand on it, man. And this is what is great about my show, the Man Hour NFL Talk, is this is a live interactive show. Talk your shit in the comments and defend yourself. I don't want to change your stance one way or the other. I just wanted to be the other side of the coin. If it was an average Joe Blow, can they never have a job again? That's all I'm saying. Timothy says, was he dealing drugs or just a user? Probably just a user. Probably just a user. There's always semi-pro. CFL, 12 guys. Pussies. I was the 12th man, and that's the only way I got the job, man. It's because there was 12 guys. But, guys, NFL draft is right around the corner. Next Thursday? Not next Thursday. 2 Thursdays from now. Officially 2 weeks away, the NFL draft will be here. And the Rashid Rice news is coming out right at the time when the Kansas City Chiefs are like, man, what are we going to do with our draft picks? So on this If and Then Thursday, guys, we got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. We got to talk about their potential in this year's NFL draft. So as you guys know, as of right now, the Kansas City Chiefs sit last in the first 3 rounds of the draft and second to last in the 4th round of this year's draft. So they got all their 4th round picks, but they're at the very tail end of the rounds. Wide receivers have been issues for the Kansas City Chiefs the last 2 seasons, but just between the drops and the not being able to run routes and just the drops. Now, one of their top receivers is potentially going to no longer be on the team by the name of Rashid Rice. Does this mean Kansas City has to draft a receiver? I mean, it has to draft a receiver, right? They have to move up and get a receiver, right? So we got to ask the question: if the Kansas City Chiefs don't move up in the draft to draft a wide receiver this season, then what? The Kansas City Chiefs have kind of had a weird offseason. They released MVS earlier this off-season. A couple of days later, they signed Marquise Hollywood Brown. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, MVS, wasn't much for the stat-wise in the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a couple games where he caught some balls and some big-time catches, but he also had some big-time drops. He just wasn't fitting into the Kansas City Chiefs scheme very well. Adding the addition of Hollywood Brown was huge. Rashid Rice did tally up a lot of yards last season. Just under 1,000 yards last season, was the leading receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, but he seemed to disappear when they needed him the most. So losing him hurts, but also, does it really hurt? I don't know. So when we look at the draft is very top heavy for receivers. You have 3 receivers up at the very top that are probably going within the top 10. But when you look at the bottom half of the receiving class in the first round and second round, there are some good projections down there. You have Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, the second man to Malik Neighbors that we talked about yesterday, Lad McCooney from Georgia, and my man Troy Franklin from Oregon. So when we look at this, if the Kansas City Chiefs do not move up and get a receiver, then what? I think the Chiefs will be just fine. The Chiefs do not need to move up and go get a receiver. The Chiefs don't need to trade a first and a second round pick to get in the top 10 to get a receiver. No, they don't. They'll be just fine. Troy Franklin from Oregon is going to be a dog. This man is getting lost in the wide receiver shuffle, but this man is going to be a dog. Watched film on him yesterday and watched his pro day, and I do not understand why he is not being talked about more. This man is being slept on. So the Kansas City Chiefs do not need to move up in the draft. The Kansas City Chiefs don't need to bank on a receiver coming, like go get Odell Beckham Jr. or whatever if they lose Rashid Rice. They don't need to worry about it. They'll draft a receiver in the late first round, late second round. They'll be just fine. They'll be just fine. Speaking of just fine, the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears' Montez Sweat has been very, very vocal the last few days. He's been out there talking his stuff, flexing his stuff, doing a little swag talk. He has been very, very vocal about the need a nice 1-2 punch at defensive end. He's been very, very vocal that he said that he will never lose to the Green Bay Packers again. This year, the Chicago Bears are going to walk over the Green Bay Packers, Montez Sweat says. So, guys, we got to ask the question. If and then, if the Bears do not beat the Green Bay Packers in 2024, then what? When we look at the Chicago Bears, guys, they did improve last season. They got a lot better from week 1 to week 17. They got a hell of a lot better. Play calling got better. Justin Fields got better. The defense got better. Hell, they were in the playoff hunt till week 16? Finished the season 7-10. But since then, they no longer have a quarterback. Their defense is getting better, but not worse either. The simple fact of the matter is the Green Bay Packers own the Chicago Bears. In the last 10 seasons, 20 games in fact, the Chicago Bears have only beaten the Green Bay Packers twice. One time in 2015 on November 26th, 17-13 win at Green Bay. And then in 2018, December 16th, they won at home 24-17. Of course, all these losses, most of those losses were to Aaron Rodgers at the helm, but Jordan Love took right over. This is the issue that I have with the Chicago Bears. They might be better, but the Green Bay Packers are even much better. Right now, the Chicago Bears have issues. Not only do they not have a quarterback, they have ego issues. Look at this. Montez Sweat out there pumping up the crowd, saying, we're never going to lose to Green Bay. We need a defensive end. We need this, we need this. Ego. Sit down and shut up. How about you have a winning season before you start talking your shit? And then there's many fans out there. My man, BC Combs. Beastie, did you stand up Wayne G last night? My man stood up Wayne G, I think. Many people in Chicago says this is the best sports town ever. Best sports town ever. We have the Bulls, we have the Blackhawks, we have the White Sox, we have we have the Bears, we have a WNBA team. Best sports town ever. Y'all suck. Chicago sucks. But then BC Combs in the same breath, we have the best sports town ever, the best teams ever, and then our owner sucks. Our stadium sucks. We need new this. We need this, this, and this, and this. Egos. All about egos. Chicago Bears are trash. And regardless of how the draft goes, regardless of how the rest of the offseason goes, regardless of how the OTAs, training camp, preseason goes, in the end, the Chicago Bears will either have A, a rookie quarterback, or B, Tyson Bagent, second-year player, versus a really damn good Packers defense. A defense that was the top 10 defense last year, actually 8th statistically overall, and they just got better. Yesterday, I was working on my rankings about potentially the best defenses in the league, the best offenses in the league, and I think the Green Bay Packers are still going to have a top 10 defense going into 2024. I do think the Bears will have a top 10 or a top 20 defense at least. They'll be ranked 12th, I do believe. But to win games, you got to put up some points. The Chicago Bears have the 22nd best offense pending the draft. The Packers will have a top 5 offense. So if the Bears do not beat the Packers in 2024, then what? Then Montez Sweat, the rest of the Matt Eberfluses, and DJ Moore, they all need to be fired. The whole Chicago Bears offense organization needs to be fired. Shut up with your mouse. Shut up with everything you got. Shut up. Chicago Bears suck. I'm out.